G'day, welcome back to my Corp string challenge as we continue to connect all the countries of the world together with a long string. So I've let this run for about 10 hours uh, since opening Russia and Indonesia. And let me show you what my handiwork has done for that. So we'll just give it a second while we see the money's not moving at all, so it's still thinking about it. But you can see the very first off is that we have a very, very detailed Japan now that we will have to connect. Along with that, we've got one more city in South Korea, one in North. We also got a whole bunch more in China too. I mean, I still feel like there's heaps more room to move in China, and we've got a few more up here too. Going down this way, we've gotten a bunch in Vietnam, a bunch in Thailand, and a whole lot in Indonesia as well. Some island really shows you where the populations are of Indonesia, that some of these islands aren't even there. Even Bali's not recognized. All right, and drumroll, are you ready for it? And Russia is all the way across the board. So I think that this will, with the layout that we've currently got of Russia, and another thing to note too, with my 10 hours of play, you can see that, say, this city here is still yellow, which means I am still getting cities. Like, this isn't Russia, China, Japan, Indonesia, Southeast Asia maxed out. There were still more cities for the game to offer me. But I did run out of time to get this one filming. So I might have to let it run a bit more. So we might pick up another country or two that might have some big numbers. So what we're going to start with, though, is we're just going to grab someone to start this off, and that will be Brunei. I can't imagine that we're going to get much more than just Brunei there, so we will open up Malaysia as well. So we're going to get maybe get a few cities in Malaysia. Alrighty, so you can see we've also gained one Indian city too. Let's just have a quick sweep of Africa, just make sure that nothing went as far back as Africa. No, the Middle East looks clear. We did get one Turkish city. So that's a pretty obvious one where to go once the game calms down. And just give us a level 6 plane as the max one. Give us a max one that's just sort of like maxed. There's going to be a lot of thinking about it. This is probably one of the big points where this game would have a lot of benefit to being able to pause the game. And I can fully imagine that if I could pause the game while trying to build in a situation like this, it would greatly speed it up. Okay, so we got a couple of Iranian cities, just the two. So this guy's a pretty obvious one. He does help out a little bit, and that he gives us cuts this route in half. And keeping your eyes out, notice if I don't update any cities and let me know, because these guys are going to be scattered all over the map. I can quite easily miss them. You can see the struggle that this world is now going on with this new update, with the new cities included. And this is definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to leave. I do like that, though, that every time I buy a new plane on there... Oh no, that was just me buying the level 5 plane, wasn't it? Yeah, because this was going to cause the map to sort of calm down, freak out so much. So let's sell that guy, and we'll get them across to Zajan. Can't imagine the J is that hard in Iranian. It would be a more rolling pronunciation of that. This is in full struggle mode now. But we're definitely right on the end here. Finishing this guy. So I feel like what we need to do is sort of categorize the different sections of what we've gotten in Russia into different areas. And I think that looking at this, step one will be to cut these two paths here, and Mongolia actually attaches to Russia, as does the northern Kazakhstani cities. And so there's a cut sort of these three cities. No, those two cities will connect to here, and the rest of this I'll cut off and send north. So kind of tricky to sort of try and map it with there's so many changes. But say, for example, this guy will end up connecting to these two as opposed to connecting with the rest of with Uzbekistan. These guys will, I think, makes more sense to connect them to there and connect this guy up there. So the separation between these two cities is it's going to be significant. We've then got our this up here will all become just one section, so separated from this. So this is potentially going to be connected to part of Europe, while this is going to be connected to the Far East. So definitely, if you could bust this route, which, I mean, you'd be going through the Tiger Forest, so maybe you can't. You certainly would want to. So let's start off with I'm gonna have to really work out the whole map of this. So what we do have that's quite good, and let's work out Japan for a moment here. So let's sell that route, because Tokyo is now very far back in Japan. It doesn't need to be connecting directly to South Korea. Instead, what we'll do is we'll sell that route, and I think that what I was talking about, I think in previous ones, was that I'd want a sort of basically the two closest cities to connect in, and then this guy sort of just be able to loop at the top and come back down. And I think that that's possible now, but it's going to be a different one to what I intended. I don't think it'll be these two. I think it'll be these two that I'll do that with. So I might just sell all of these Japanese city connections. That one there goes over a city, so it's an absolute no-no there. The thing I don't get about this, and this is just sort of thinking about how badly this runs. And like I've said, this computer is not a bad computer. This is a new computer that run a lot of, like, what would you call them, AAA games, like at max settings. That there's no way that this game should be struggling with something like this. But how is this tested? Like, what? Surely, when you're making this game, there's obviously certain things that you can do that will cause glitches and things that may go under the radar, that no one's attempted to approach the game in a certain way or whatever. But this is just purely what happens when you open up the entire world in all country mode and leave it for a while so that you get a whole lot of cities. How is this not one of the most, like, alpha tested things in this game? But it doesn't matter, right? Essentially just a glorified screensaver at this point, just planes flying slowly all over the world, soothingly, rhythmically. Alright, so what we're going to now do is we're going to try and build two separate routes up Japan, so that this guy and this guy can meet at the northern end of Japan. These cities are all so close, we might have to zoom in a little bit more so that they don't keep colliding into each other. I tell you what, I love that they let you sort of upgrade planes to different levels. I don't quite know what scenario I would use to upgrade a plane to level 3. But just do the highest one as the highest plane. Like, I don't know who would sort of go like, all right, I've got the money now. I'm going to live in luxury and just upgrade my planes to level 5. Alrighty, so that's number 1. Upgrading away. So I know that this guy's going to go to Hiroshima, and then he's going to have to take out Mitsui? Is that how that's pronounced? Then where do we go from there? I think that possibly this guy gets Osaka. And then Nagoya. Slowly. Nagoya new? No, Nagoya's been there a while, right? Yeah. And then how would we pronounce that one? Shizuoka? Shizuoka. Oka. Assume Oka's the sound. OKA. Okay, once we've got him, we can sort of a bit more clearly see that R. But again, I have said it before, and I do play to this defense. There was one point where I had to stop making this series at about 10 episodes or so in, because I had South America and the game couldn't cope with that. So it definitely has gotten better than where it once was. Definitely still room for improvement. That guy, did I not upgrade him? Yeah. Slowly, slowly. Alright, while we're slowly getting through this guy, Brunei. So Brunei was formerly Brunei Darussalam. Nation of Brunei, the abode of peace, is a country located on the north coast of the island of Borneo, Southeast Asia. Apart from its southeast China coast, it is completely surrounded by Malaysian state of Sarawak and is separated into 2 parts by the Sarawak district of Limbang. Brunei is the only sovereign state entirely on Borneo. The remainder of the island is divided between Malaysia and Indonesia. And this actually does, in looking at this map while this was sort of like while I was just letting it run cities, this did fascinate me. Look at this island here and think about the amount of, like, obviously Malaysia I've only just brought in, so Malaysia hasn't had a chance to represent itself here. But in terms of landmass, it's a pretty hefty part of Indonesia. So I got a sense that this, and we'll have a look at this in a bit, is surely got to be rainforest or forest of some kind, right? There's just nothing in the central part of that island. So let's have a read about Sarawak. Alright, so let's get Tokyo in here. Sarawak. Sorry, actually, before we do that, just one quick thing. Let's learn Borneo's population. 460,000. Sarawak, the largest amongst the... is a state of Malaysia. Largest amongst the 13 states. Sorry. Sarawak's the state of Malaysia. It's not the island. The island was Borneo. Borneo is the third largest island in the world and the largest in Asia. The geographic center of the maritime Southeast Asia in relation to major Indonesian islands located north of Java, west of Sulawesi, and east of Sumatra. Not that we didn't already know that. What do we got? What's that? Geography is what I want. Geography. Not when it was formed. Largest river system. There's orangutans there. Borneo rainforest is estimated to be around 140 million years old, making it one of the oldest rainforests in the world. It is the center of evolution and distribution of many endemic species of plants and animals, and the rainforest is one of the few remaining natural habitats for the endangered Borneo orangutan. It's an important refuge for many endemic forest species, including the Borneo elephant. I didn't realize there were elephants that far down now. The eastern Sumatran rhinoceros, and the Bornean clouded leopard, the Bornean rock frog, the house palm, and then just a couple of, what's that? The Hoses palm civet, no idea what that is, and the Dayak fruit bat. There is a Bornean leopard and a Bornean elephant and rhino. How about that? Alright, and then Malaysia, country in Southeast Asia. A federal constitutional monarchy consists of 13 states and 3 federal territories separated by the South China Sea into 2 regions, Peninsular Malaysia and Borneo's East Malaysia. What else we got? Malaysia. Population of Malaysia is 33 million. How much of that lives in Kuala Lumpur? 7.5 million. So not an overwhelming chunk of it. And just while we're in the same area, also have a look at Singapore, since Singapore's not going to come up on the map for us. Because that's... oh, I've gone the wrong one. Republic of Singapore, sovereign state. No. Do that. Still him. The amount of steps I wouldn't have to do if that would just let me upgrade to a level 6. Alright. This is where we're going to have a little issue in connecting. 2,000, what's that, 22,000? 17,000. 13,000. Alright, we've got our route. Singapore lies 1 degree north of the equator. Its population, 5 million. It's actually a lot less than I expected it would be. I mean, I realize it's not a huge amount of space, but it's a big city. Alright, so we're almost through getting these guys. I would say that this guy gets to be an honorary part of the Japanese connection. I wonder if you can fly to Japan. What's that? Is it Varal? Is that the name of that island? Well, overkill. I mean, that route's basically the same length as this route, so it's not sort of making anything worse for these guys. Anything will make it worse is my reluctance to chuck a second plane on those routes, even though they're definitely going to need it straight away. So here's a question: if you lived on in a world where this was the plane system, and you wanted to visit everywhere in the world, geographically, where would be the best place to live? Based on nothing else other than convenience to get to everywhere in the world. Someone did ask if I could have one bus route in this. If one bus route existed, where would it be? Between two cities, what would be the most convenient connection that you could create that would cut out the most of the world? And I think, and I'll put an asterisk with this, that we possibly could, the answer to this could change based on where Russia connects. That the, my answer, at least before the start of today's works, was, oh, that guy is good. Over this way, these two, Istanbul and Varna. If you had a bus route between those two, it would mean that you could cut out all of that by just taking a bus from there to there, which feels like it would probably be worth it. Let's have a quick look. If I was to put on my map, give me Istanbul, Turkey, give me directions to Varna. What did I say? Bolivia? Bulgaria. Varna, Bulgaria. My car, please. 6.5 hours. So you could take a 6.5 hour bus ride between those two, or you could go for a few weeks through Africa. All right, so I want to add the extra Chinese cities in here, but it is tricky because I also want to get rid of Mongolia. So let's cut out Mongolia. We're going to push them north, and they're going to become part of we're taking this back to, what, 1988 or so, and we're getting Mongolia to rejoin with Russia. And we're going to get China. Now, the tricky thing here is I've also got to rethink where this is ending up, because at the moment I've got two sides of this route ending here, so possibly we're getting rid of that route there, and we're flipping this guy around, so we just get rid of that route. They connect. We then get rid of that route there. Vladivostok's always fascinated me as a city, because look how close that is to North Korea, China, but it's a Russian city. How Russian is that Russian city? Like, what's the vibe of this city? Does it have a European-looking population that have sort of migrated there, or is it a predominantly sort of Asian-looking population? Or it's the do they keep cultural sort of like similarities to the other side of Russia? For some reason, I feel like that seems like a city that's more in tune with, and this is based on nothing. It's just based on sort of like a lifetime of hearing the name Vladivostok. I feel that if Russia was saying, well, we need someone in the Far East to sort of keep an eye on things or manage things or whatever, that's the city that they're going to. Like, look at their proximity, yeah, to North Korea, to South Korea, to China, to Japan. Like, this is a really well-positioned city. And for that reason, I feel like that surely there would have been people positionally put there from the West. For that reason, I think that maybe it's got a different vibe, look, feel to the other cities of Siberia. Now, the problem is that once we hit Vladivostok, we're sort of out in the middle of no man's land for this. 36,000 to get north. Even worse for him. I mean, potentially what we should do is close off these two here. And have this sort of one way down there. So if we had that go one way, yeah, let's work that out. So this would go up here. It's right in my head. So we've got two different routes coming in here. If we sent this route up here, ignore that because that's a long route. What if we instead went from, say, we connected Zibo, Quindang, Dalian, and then went to here. Had this go down that way while the other side came up and around and back down that way? For whatever reason, I just can't picture it. But I can't open it. It means that Japan would have to be just a single line. Right. So this comes down here, connects to, say, all of the cities of South Korea, all of the cities of Japan, moves up and then comes around the top here, comes down this way into these cities, and then they meet there, and that's the loop. The loop closes in North Korea as opposed to top of Japan. Boy. Which means I've got to undo all of that. Alright. So let's... disconnect that. And that. We'll just close up. 1922, so that guy there. Sell that. Sell that. And I mean, while we're at it, we probably want to sell the other side of Talon as well. So sell that. And so from here, this guy connects to there. And then those two connect. At least if I forget to upgrade a plane, they're getting a level 5 plane. I suppose that's at least a plus of this. No, not you. That one. Oh, you already upgraded, so it means you already upgraded. Good. So we'll knock out that one. This guy in. Slowly, slowly. Alright, then he goes up. And up. That build? Yep, good. So for this guy, his preference is that one. Okay. Well, on the plus side, we get to get rid of a few of these longer routes of Japan. So that one's gone. At least I don't have to upgrade these cities again. I do know that I haven't upgraded any of those cities at the top. That's alright. Get rid of that one. How easy this would be if I could just say level 6 plane. It's dying. Alright, so we can get rid of that one. Those two connect. I guess now they're just gonna have to zigzag back and forth across So it would be that they sort of, these guys jump across, those guys jump across. Boy, oh boy. The fact that I have to click on these and upgrade them almost makes the luxury of getting them as level 5 insignificant, because I've got to click on everything about the same amount of times. It's just the same one button that doesn't move, that I get to click once instead of 4 times. Sounds right. So this one we get rid of him. And I mean, we'd run him into Okayama and then sort of down. I mean, if this wasn't so close to the end, I would almost say that I might have to take another break from the game to let them work on it a bit more to figure out how to handle this many routes. Alright, so you're sort of out in the middle of nowhere. So where are we going to connect you to? It would either be that we have to connect these two direct, or I guess we get rid of that one. That one. And then down here. Well, it doesn't really feel like we've achieved much. That's why we're going to have to sort of call this one for now, while we rebuild all of this next and then sort of connect it through here and then connect all the cities of China that we've got. But you could hear the ding there that we are still getting more cities. I mean, they are more Malaysian cities, I'd say, at this point. Yeah, that was that was step one of reconnecting all these many cities that I've now got to add. Any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them below, and we'll be back to do this all again. Catch you later. See ya.